Okay, we made it. We made it to 2025. Um, Hi guys, I'm Mandie Quark, and welcome to our future. Yeah, so today I'm going to talk about neotropical fungal biodiversity toward a better future for ourselves. So, particularly the Amazon rainforest. Um, this breathtaking place, um, is not only some of the highest biodiversity on Earth, containing pockets of life that we probably never seen or imagined ever before. But it also contains anywhere from 20 to 25% the planet's fresh water. And Ecuador, which is a country roughly the size of Colorado in area, is one of 17. They're called mega diverse countries of the world. These countries host different biodiversity in different unique ecosystems. Ecuador has about 64 different forest ecosystems. So that's a lot of ecosystems. It's also one of the rainiest places on Earth, receiving on average of about 215 inches, which is about 5,500 millimeters of rain each year. So that is, this is tropical rainforest, subtropical, tropical rainforest. And here in the video, you can see that this the eco resort where I'm shooting this video from is on the upper slope of the Andes mountain range. And it just kind of looks down above the Amazon basin. So, imagine you are on the edge of a mountain, and then all you see below you is the Amazon basin, which stretches out over hundreds of thousands of miles across the entire continent of South America. So, I am a mycologist, and water and rainfall is especially important for what I do, what I study, which is mushrooms. Um, so yeah, the water that flows out of this region, uh, fed by the Rio Pastaza, so the Pastaza River. This is in Pastaza, Ecuador, which is the Amazon region. Um, the water that flows here serves just like countless communities, tribes, and urban centers as it travels thousands more miles on its way to the ocean. So, just a couple little facts here for you guys. So, why do we study fungi? So, the ratio of fungi to plant species is about 10 to 1 on this planet. Um, so that means for every plant that you see or know, there's 10 more corresponding fungi that either do exist or could possibly exist. It's hard to even put numbers to these things just because a lot of these fungi spend the majority of their life underground, and some of them never form fruiting bodies. They're just interwoven among plant roots, for instance. So it's really hard to make these estimates, but for safe to say, for every plant, there's at least 10 more species of fungi kicking around somewhere on this earth. And people have wildly differed from the estimate of how many fungi are on Earth. It started out in the hundreds of thousands, which is about what plants are. There's about 600,000 plants that we're pretty solid of, and about 95% of them are known. But by stark contrast, 3 million fungi, so many more fungi on Earth. We don't know exact numbers, and probably only 3% of them have been formally described by taxonomists. And that includes the species in lichen, which you see here on the slide. So, whoops. Networks of humans are accomplishing the monumental task of assigning identities to these unknown fungi. So that is me. I am in the networks of humans that are trying to sift and sort through this data. So we do this through DNA sequencing. And in this way, connected communities of fungi are connecting communities of humans. Um, and just particularly what I love to study the most are species in the families Cordyceps and Ophiocordyceps. Um, Here on this slide, I'm showing a picture of a weevil in Ecuador that has been parasitized by a fungus called Ophiocordyceps curculeonum. Um, yeah, so the Ophiocordyceps enters the host body, takes over, and then fruits out the head once it's done completing its life cycle. So DNA sequencing is a really cool thing. It's super interesting and it's just evolving at such a crazy rate. Just in the last couple years, being able to DNA barcode one single sample has come down from about $20 to pennies on the dollar. I'm part of a couple different research labs, the Ohio Mushroom DNA Lab and Mycota Lab, that do DNA sequencing of fungi in North America. And DNA sequencing can help track species evolution. So, phylogeny, how did these species evolve and what are the relationships between species, which is super important when putting names to species. It also can help us with biodiversity inventories. Um, so that's basically what we're doing and what I'm discussing right now. So yeah, we are kind of taking inventory of what is on our planet, right? There's also new species discoveries that can be made. That's another thing that I'm heavily involved in. And one of the things going into the future that's going to become really important is environmental monitoring. So, a new frontier of our lab is environmental monitoring through eDNA. So, picking up tiny pieces of DNA in the environment from all life, not just fungi, and kind of knowing what's there and being able to monitor the health of environments over time. So it's super important, and DNA sequencing can help us accomplish all of these goals. Okay. Sorry, my little clicker is acting up. So this is actually an old estimate, but and also I want to make this fun. I don't really want to like bore you guys with statistics and data. But as you can see over time, our progress with generating DNA sequences on mushrooms in North America has completely taken off. As of September, we were at 33,000, and just a few short months later, here in January of 2025, we are topping out 55,000. So when I say exponentially, folks, I mean exponentially. This stuff is going off like gangbusters, and it doesn't seem like there's any stopping this. So for this work, we use iNaturalist. So iNaturalist is a really cool platform. There's an app. There's also a desktop version. I highly encourage you to download the iNaturalist app. The cool thing is, And especially with fungi, you want to be able to get this stuff identified. And iNaturalist is like a really cool social media app, basically, for people that are into nature, because your friends and peers can help identify your finds um, online. So if you go into the woods and you feel overwhelmed, like you're not sure what this stuff is, take really good photos, upload it to iNaturalist, and the community will help you out. And we use iNaturalist IDs, so like a unique code generated by iNaturalist to track all of our observations from the field to the lab to having the sequence and then communicating about it later, which is my job. That's what I'm doing right now. So iNaturalist just reached 500,000 taxa. So that's actually amazing. It says according to the IUCN estimates, that is nearly a quarter of all known species on Earth. Fungi are still, as you can see in the lower right corner, still incredibly lacking in the data and knowledge just of observation. So this isn't the fungi that have been described, that number is much lower, as I already told you guys about. However, we at least are making some progress in documenting this fungi, which is the first step towards knowing what we have, and the very first step in the process of being able to conserve what we do have biodiversity wise for fungi on this planet. Anyway, I just looked up these statistics hours ago. As of right now, today, there are 97,000. Oh my gosh. I'm really tired. I woke up at like 3 o'clock in the morning to record this. Excuse me. There are almost 98 million total INET observations in the USA as of today. So that is today when you guys are going to be watching this, because like I said, this is 3 o'clock in the morning on the day that you guys will be watching this, because your girl is funny. Anyway, yeah, so of those almost 98 million observations on INET in the USA, which is about half of everything in the world, by the way, um, about 7 million or 7% of that are fungi. And that's amazing. And that number tracks with the whole world. About 7% of all iNaturalist observations in the world are fungi. And I'm also happy to report that as of today, there are 55,577. I love this number. I don't know why. It's just a beautiful number popped out when I needed this. It's definitely for you guys. Yeah, over 55,000, almost 56,000 fungi out of the 7 million in the United States have DNA sequence data because of the work that the labs that I'm associated with are doing and have been doing for the last decade. That's almost 1% in the United States of all fungi on iNaturalist have DNA barcode data associated. That is actually amazing. I'm gonna take a sip of my hot chocolate right now while you guys soak that in. Yeah, so it just shows you what people can do when they put their minds to it. And by the way, these are all non-academic labs. It's all community mycology. So this is just people that want to do this work. We're not associated with a university. It's just people that are doing this work in their garages, like in their basements. Um, People have trained themselves. I have formal training, but that I had got that before I came to this field. But yeah, there are people that are just seriously learning DNA sequencing that have no formal training in molecular biology. So it's really, really cool and awesome what the mycology community has been able to accomplish in North America. And we are part of a global movement where community members from all backgrounds and disciplines work together to make contributions that will further the science of mycology. That's what's happening right now, honestly. And the whole point of this PowerPoint is to say that we are really killing it in North America. And even though I've been researching in Ecuador for the past few years, the pace of progress there is super slow. It's really hard to get the reagents down there. It's really hard to get any work done with the bureaucratic red tape that you need just to ship reagents into the country or move samples around the country once they're collected. So it's probably good, Ecuador protecting their natural resource. Um, but yeah, it's been difficult even with the high biodiversity in these amazing places like the Ecuadorian Amazon. The research progress is actually much slower. Um, as far as North America goes, this work is was picked up on by the New York Times. So we had the New York Times came out with an article in, I think it was June 11th of this past year, 2024. And yeah, they wrote an article about the mycology community called "The Mushroom Hunters Can't Stop Finding Mysterious Fungi." So this is all about our efforts to document and collect mushrooms in North America. So, obviously that's the 17th most, I think it's the 17th, something like that, most read periodical in the world. So people actually are catching on to this and they do care about it. So how exactly do we do this? So this photo was taken by Rachel Bujowski. She came with us to Ecuador to kind of capture this stuff, but the process is the same no matter where you are in the world. Step one, photograph the mushrooms. So you want to get really good quality photos of top, bottom, side, the environment, as much information as you can in the photos themselves, and upload those to iNaturalist. You want to carefully dig and collect them from the environment, making sure to preserve the base, which may be underground, like this Cordyceps here that I found in Ecuador. The next step is to organize and upload the photos to iNat. So it's really important when you get back, label all your finds. And you can see on the phone right here, we have it open to iNaturalist, just making sure they're all organized. And then they get popped into a dehydrator in the Amazon. The dehydrator situation is a little tenuous. It's just a big box with a bunch of incandescent light bulbs in it. But super important to dehydrate the mushrooms super thoroughly, especially in the Amazon, but really anywhere because not having dry mushrooms contributes to degradation of the DNA. Step five, as we can see here, is deposit in an herbarium. This is the herbarium at Inabio in Quito, Ecuador. And this is Rosa here. She runs the fungarium, and there's only about 8,000 collections in the whole entire herbarium of this country of fungi. So, like I just said, we've DNA sequenced in the last few years. Really, in the last year, I think we've DNA sequenced like 30,000 mushrooms in North America, but here in Ecuador, they only have about 8,000 that have been collected of all time. So you really can see like the stark contrast in that. So we love to help Rosa out as much as we can when we're down there because for whatever reason, the mycological diversity of Ecuador is vastly understudied. The next step after that is the actual sequencing. In Ecuador, that can be accomplished at the lab at Inabio. And in North America, like I said, people just be doing it in their garages. I don't even know what to tell you. So that's it about North America. North America is such a hog of time and space and energy, honestly. Um, so I want to really start to hone in and focus and kind of take the larger global world and start looking closer and closer. So we're going to kind of zoom in here, start to zoom in on the Amazon rainforest. So the Amazon rainforest is they call it the lungs of the earth. It's the largest contiguous forest on Earth. It's also one of the most massive carbon sinks still existing on planet Earth right now. However, it has been disappearing at a rapid rate, far faster than biological diversity can be cataloged. It is really wild, just exactly how fast this huge, huge, vast swath of impermeable and pretty much uninterrogable forest is just being chopped and burned and, you know, oiled down. When I was there, we didn't have internet for like a week last year just because there was a huge oil spill right down the street from the place we were staying, which cut out basically all the utilities. Um, it's really sad how this area is being treated. It's more than sad, honestly, but we'll save our tears. Anyway, so some of you guys are probably like, where is Ecuador? So let's just situate you in the region right now. So Ecuador is in South America. It's on the northwesternmost side. I said it's about the area of the state of Colorado. So it's really not that big, but it has just so many different ecosystems, so many different nooks and crannies, and it is kind of cut through by the Andes mountain range. So on the eastern slope of the Andes, we have here all the regions of Ecuador. On the eastern slope of the Andes is this region called Pastaza. So that's where we typically go and research in the Amazon region. Pastaza is the largest region of Ecuador. It also has the lowest population of people. So, very interestingly, um, it also has, I think it's 14 different native tribes and dialects, including Quechua. So, yeah, it is very wild, very nothing, and very everything in the same time. So, this is me and my research partner, Alan Rockefeller, down there, researching. We'd be discovering um, different mushrooms. This was a photo taken by Rachel um, when she came down there with us. And yeah, I feel like just this area that we go, it's not just understudied by mycologists, but it's understudied by all disciplines of science. And really, these little nooks and crannies in the foothills of the Andes are ecological transition zones, and they are regions of extreme biodiversity given where they're situated geologically and topographically, just because of these little like micro habitats. Um, so here's some people that we also work with. In the middle there, that is Alex Bentley. He is a researcher. He researches reptiles and amphibians. Um, and he lives down there with his partner directly to his left. That is an amazing, amazing local lady named DNA. She is probably the happiest person I've ever seen. And why would you not be? That's where she grew up. This is her backyard. This location, um, it's in the Yanganantes Sangay corridor. So it's this unprotected corridor that spans between um, two national parks, the Yanganantes and the Sangay. And that is where all their research is being conducted. This ecological corridor that's totally unprotected and totally susceptible to illegal logging and mining and other dangerous things. It was declared a gift to the earth by the World Wildlife Foundation, and they have or have had grants from the World Wildlife Fund in the past for their work here um, with the herps. And yeah, like places like this, they ultimately maintain equilibrium on a planetary scale. So I was in Alex and DNA's backyard, and Alex is just so patient with us when we go down there because we're mycologists and our work is done on such a different scale. So he's out there wrangling lizards and snakes, and he's like milking snakes, and I'm sitting there I'm flipping leaves over and looking for these tiny insects that have been parasitized by fungi. So I was sitting there one day photographing this. This is Ophiocordyceps dipterigena. So this is a another fungus that has taken over a fly. So this is a fly's body and then the fungus rooting out of it. And it was, the sun was about to go down. I was trying to get my angles. And Alex is just so patient with me. And I'm back in his backyard, which for all intents and purposes looks like this crazy jungle, like you're out in the middle of nowhere. But you can hear people the whole time because they're pretty much right next to their house is situated right next to the town. But it is just it's so crazy to be somewhere where it just looks like, you know you're far in the middle of nowhere, but like still hearing the voices and commotion of the people in this town. So, yeah, when I say like his backyard, this is what I mean. So, the town of Mara would be off to the left in this photo, and I was behind the house in the backyard, just hearing people. But yeah, this is what I'm talking about when I say Alex's backyard. It really is the Amazon jungle. And just in that county alone, um, there is 581 registered endemic tree species, so trees that are endemic to there. That is double the amount of tree species that are endemic in all of Europe. And that's also double, I think it's more than the United States and Canada combined as well. So there are just so many different trees, like hundreds and hundreds of trees that are here, and each leaf and tree root has something different degrading it. So the variety of fungi that are here working on, fungi work at the process of decay and renewal. So the amount of turnover here in this Amazon rainforest is astronomical, and fungi are just so important. Like everything that is dead is being brought back to life by fungi. Every leaf that falls to the earth of all these almost 600 different trees here in this county alone, Um, every leaf, every part of the tree has a different fungus that is working on bringing it back to life and recycling it. So this is another really cool place, pretty much behind in the backyard, but further out. So this is this beautiful river and swimming hole, and they're right around the corner from here are these gorgeous, gorgeous caves. So here is the entrance to one of the caves. This is called La Garganta del Dino. So this is the throat of the dinosaur. And it really is like the cave entrance, by the way, is here on the left-hand side. And when you go down there, you really can see just it's just absolutely stunning. And they are doing work on analyzing what is in the caves, the biodiversity monitoring that I was talking about, and just making sure this cave ecosystem stays healthy. Super, super important work, super, you know, underfunded, and I don't even think it is funded, honestly. Um, yeah, it's just none of this work really gets the recognition or the funding that it deserves. Um, and so this is more of a active cave, part of the cave with stalactites and stalagmites, whereas this is a more this is a part of the cave that is more open. I had Alan trying to fly a drone in there. It was really cool. But yeah, we are currently studying the fungi in these caves. So there are fungi that grow on the bat guano in the caves. There's fungi that grow on the cave-dwelling insects. And we even last year discovered all these silkworms hanging from the ceiling, and they were just everywhere, suspended from the ceiling. Super cool. And we also discovered fungi growing on the glowworms that are in the caves. So really the potential for discovery here in these caves in the middle of the Amazon jungle are incredibly high. And this is like, talking about niching down like to a niche. Cave fungi of Ecuador is something I am just insanely attracted to and like thrilled about. Just, I don't think we know anything about it. Just one, I'm going to show you one thing. We don't literally know what this is. It's probably some sort of bug in the cave with some sort of cordyceps thing growing on it, but it could not be. I really have no idea. We're not going to know until we can get some DNA sequence data back on these, which we will eventually, but like I said, it's a long process for doing work down here. Um, yeah, so in addition to fungi, just quickly want to show you, I mean, the biodiversity is just off the charts. So there's all sorts of really cool things like birds, for instance. So many people love birds. I swear, like if people love fungi like they love birds, then we would be just we would have discovered so many more things by now. But yeah, there's so many birds down there, particularly around this the area outside of the caves. There is giant land snails. There are reptiles. Our friend Alex wrote a whole book about frogs and snakes of the region, documenting hundreds of species. This is a photo taken by my research partner. This is a totally poisonous snake that was hanging from a branch at night. I was not there for this, but yeah, it's gorgeous. I'm happy. to have the photo. I really like snakes, but um, fungi are really more my thing. Here's a gorgeous frog. This is just like a very common like pond frog down there. Here is a gorgeous butterfly photo taken by our friend Andy Betterbugs. He is an entomologist down there. He is also Ecuadorian, and he also, funny enough, lives in Colorado. He let us stay at his grandmom's house also, which was awesome. In addition to butterflies, there's a stunning, vast variety of moth species in this area. Entomologists flock from across the world to see the moths in this region. Um, they're just, oh my gosh, I wish the presentation was just all about moths because I have hundreds, if not thousands, of photos of just moths because they're absolutely insane and you can just see new ones every night of your life while you're down there. And there are moths that even look like leaves covered in mycelium. So here, this is actually a leaf covered in mycelium, and I couldn't find the moth photo. I'm still actively looking for it, so hopefully it will be in one of the later iterations of this talk. But I actually found a moth that looked like a rolled up leaf covered in mycelium. Um, but yeah, there's plenty of rolled up leaves covered in mycelium because the mycelium mat or there is a mycelium mat contiguously running um, all underneath our feet um, in the Amazon and everywhere. So we're just gonna get into it. We're just gonna go. We're gonna do some pretty mushroom photos. I know that's what everybody's here for. That's what everyone seems to love the most. You know, like I said, there is fungi growing absolutely everywhere. Every nook, every cranny, every hole of a leaf, everything has a fungus on it down there, or at least that's what it feels like. So, this is a cool one. We found this gorgeous coral fungus clavaria. We call it CF Schaeferi. So this is the closest thing that we can call it is Schaeferi, but Schaeferi was described from Germany. So really, this is something different, completely unnamed, and it needs a lot of work, microscopy, DNA sequencing to be able to actually name it. So the closest thing we can call it is like this German thing, but it's clearly from a completely different area of the world and probably has a completely different DNA sequence. I think this is one of my favorite photos of all time, by the way. I love this. The group, instead of picking it, saved it for me to come photograph, and I was so, so happy. I love the people that come on our trips. Everyone is just like remarkably amazing. So yes, we do trips to Ecuador. And yeah, I don't know. I love this. I'm obsessed. This thing, okay, this is a weird thing. I like to show you guys some alien type of fungi, and this is probably the closest thing to alien fungi that we can possibly get. So this is a Penicilliopsis species attacking a tree nut. So don't ask me what kind of tree. It's actually much more difficult because of different inhibitors in plants to DNA sequence the plants. So I have no data on the DNA of any of these plants, and I probably never will. However, one of these crazy beautiful trees endemic to this region, had tree nuts that fell and then was colonized by this Penicilliopsis species. Now, this is a species um, closely related to Aspergillus. And basically these things are like So Penicilliopsis comes from, or penicillin, the word penicillin comes from the root of Penicilliopsis. And, you guys all familiar with the story of Alexander Fleming? If you're not, in the late 20s, Alexander Fleming um, accidentally discovered um, penicillin, penicillin, a compound that is from these relatives of bread mold that landed on his dish and stopped the growth of bacteria when someone accidentally left a window open overnight in his lab in the 1920s. So that was, the development of the advent of antibiotics. And yeah, this thing right here, this wild, ungodly thing, bright yellow, crazy, like, ooh, like octopusy, like Edward Scissorhands vibe thing. Um, this is a relative of your common bread mold growing on an unknown tree nut in the Ecuadorian Amazon. So this is an alien if I've ever seen one. Here's another one. Different tree nut, different species, but it looks kind of closer, kind of, at least it has like the, the blue red moldy look. Um, but these things are just crazy. So they are solid. They're not like dusty with mold or anything, but they are just remarkably wild looking. Like I don't really see fungi like this like anywhere else. So, so that I actually have three different species of Penicilliopsis. This is so wild because like this isn't like something that's well recorded or documented in North America, for instance, but this was one inside of a cave. So now you can see this thing really has the look of some bread ass mold. You know what I'm saying? Um, but this was in the dark, complete darkness in a cave where bats live. You can see the bat guano right there on the left. It's a tree nut, probably brought in there by the bats, because I don't know how else it would have gotten that deep in the cave. And then the Penicilliopsis fruited, and it is just like sporing out everywhere here, trying to get its rocks off and like get out of the cave. The cool thing about this is what we noticed is so a lot of mushrooms glow in UV light, and so does this one. So this one did not disappoint at all. The water droplets on this Penicilliopsis alien thing in a cave in the Amazon jungle um, are glowing. Why? Don't ask your girl. Um, but yeah, it's fun to just like flip back and forth and like see, like, look at this crazy, crazy thing. It is an alien. And speaking of UV lights, we love to bring our UV lights down there because almost everything in this forest glows or reacts under UV light at night. Excuse me. It's one of the most spectacular things I've ever seen. If you take a UV light out here in the Bay Area of California, you'll be lucky to find maybe a scorpion, maybe an arthropod, like a millipede or something that glows. You might find some like moss that glows red. Down in the Amazon, I mean, it is just every color of the rainbow, super vibrant. The entire forest comes alive at night like you've never seen anything at night. It is like tripping on psychedelics minus the psychedelics. Like it really is. And I guess you know that this is a mycology presentation because it wouldn't be a mycology presentation without even just mentioning the word psychedelics. Um, but yeah, we don't do. We don't actually do psychedelics, although there are many psilocybin species that grow in the area. I'm not going to show any in this presentation. Instead, I'm going to go to this evolutionary oddball. So this thing actually has a name. This is called Trechospora thelephora. This was found at an eco resort run by our friend, and he is a mushroom ID expert of the Amazon. And he said he had never seen this before. So this one's rare. There's only 30 something observations on all of iNaturalists spread out over South America. I think it was like Brazil, Colombia, Ecuador, Peru, Panama, Costa Rica, the Cayman Islands, and there's even a few in South Florida, in the deep, deep, deep South Florida Everglades. This thing is crazy. And the reason I call it an evolutionary oddball is because it kind of branched off, and this is what DNA sequencing is good for, is helping us determine these things. It kind of branched off of its other relatives in the genus Trechospora. So this branched off and decided to adopt this cap and stem like texture. Sorry, this cap and stem, you know, being upright, being a cap and stem mushroom. So yeah, this conformation of having a cap and stem then disappeared on down the line because all other, at least that we know of, all other members of this genus are resupinate fungi. So that means they just are crusts on logs. So they lay on logs for the entirety of their existence, but this older relative actually split off and branched off and evolved so that it still has its cap and stem. So this is really wild. And if you zoom in here, this is actually um a mushroom with teeth. So that's like lion's mane or hedgehog mushrooms. Those mushrooms have teeth. This mushroom, the spore-bearing surface is also teeth. So Trichospora thelephora has teeth. It's a tooth fungus. Really, really weird. And very rare. So, going from extremely rare, not well observed, to if I could pick a poster child fungus of the neotropics, in my opinion, it would be Coccina tricoloma. So this thing, although it looks very alien, this beautiful salmon pink cup with hairs, is very common, extremely common down there. And it's gorgeous and it's weird. And its spore-bearing surface instead of teeth or pores or gills is a cup. It's ascomycete. And yeah, what more can I say about this thing other than it's awesome and it's everywhere? And yeah, I would vote if you had said, pick one fungus to represent them all. I would be hard pressed not to pick this one just because it is everything you want in an Amazonian mushroom. It's weird, it's wild, it's bright, it's everywhere. I love this thing. Whoops. Okay, here's another one, relatively common. This looks like Leucoprinus birnbaumii. So this looks a lot like the little Leucoprinus that can grow in your houseplants, but this is a different one. So the species is called Leucoprinus bruneoluteus, native to this area. And I feel like I put this in here just because it's going to be recognizable for people. It's not going to be as weird or as alien. If you've ever had fungi growing in your houseplants, especially if it's been bright yellow, this is what it's most likely been related to. Okay, here is hygroscopy. So I don't even know what I just look at this stunning thing. Most of the time the species do not have a see-through cap. So this is a gorgeous specimen that I found that is not super common, also doesn't have a name. Oh, actually, no, that's wrong. They're calling it Hygrocebi mirabilis or mirabilis. Yes, that's right. The paper just came out probably last week. Yes, that's right. I should have changed this. Yeah, so they're calling this Hygrocebi mirabilis now. I like to call it the papaya hygroscopy because it literally looks like a papaya. And when you're in the Amazon, you eat papaya every day for breakfast. So, yeah, I got papaya on the brain, and that's why I just love this papaya hygroscopy. So, these are typical cap stem and gilled mushrooms, and there are an incredible variety of gills. So, here is a way less common mushroom, just to show you some. They call it gill porn. Um, this one is Trichomopsis humboldtii. This is very uncommon, very bright. This one happens to feature a glorious little slug on the stem. But yeah, this one is really cool. And the gills can kind of just get like crazier and crazier. This one I just photo stack this image like a couple weeks ago. I'm trying to get all my photos together because we're going back down there in February. So this one, gorgeous, stunning. These gills are called anastomosing, so they all connect to each other. Honestly, a metaphor for life. Everything is connected. We are all in this giant web of life together. And this is in Mycena section Caladantes. So here I am with a cordyceps. This is Mandie in her natural environment. Um, yeah, what more can I say about this photo? So this is I'm so sorry, guys. Hold on one second. It is three o'clock in the morning. Probably four at this point. Oh my gosh, it's 4:50. Okay. Oh my gosh, I'm so much better. Okay, thank you. Hot chocolate from Ecuador, saving the day. Anyway, this is a Mandy in her natural environment. So here I am. I have my camera set up off the tripod. We're going rogue, photographing this gorgeous specimen of Ophiocordyceps melalonthe. So melalonthe, melalonthe is a genus of bugs, and they are um, this one in particular is underground, and it is a genus of um, beetles that are still in their larval phase, and they, this one in particular was growing underground and had a, Alan's really gonna flush the toilet in the middle of my, sorry, sorry guys, in the middle of my talk. Anyway, yeah, so this is underground. I got painstakingly and carefully dug the ground away so that we could get this photo. It has two stroma here. So the one on the right is a spore-bearing surface, and the one on the left is actually a, it's not going to produce spores, or the spores are going to be sterile. So I love this photo because I noticed the little hemimycena in the middle of the mushroom here. And until I was editing the photo, but I managed to capture this cordyceps with the two heads and the hemimycena in the middle of it. It was super cute, and I actually also had my UV light, so I got a photo of this in UV. So this worm is a larval phase of a beetle, was parasitized by Ophiocordyceps, and I mean, it just doesn't get better than this. This is like talk about aliens on Earth. This is there, this is real, and this is one of my favorite things I've ever photographed. This is actually relatively common, but this is like what I live for. Going and talking about zooming in on, zooming in scope, fungi that grow on beetle larvae, is very specific. Here is a beautiful photo taken by Alan, my partner, who just thought it was great to flush the toilet in the middle of my talk. Luckily, he takes good photos, so we'll keep him around. So this is Parasaria amazonica. I believe the genus might have been changed actually, but this is a cordyceps-like thing that parasitizes a locust. Um, or a grasshopper. You can really see the grasshopper in this one, and this is just one of my favorite photos of all time. And this is what we're down there looking for and looking out for. Um, my partner studies psilocybe, and this psychedelic genus of mushrooms. And I study cordyceps, so they're always usually growing the same locations. Um, Seeking out cordyceps habitat could be a completely different talk, so maybe I'll get that one day. Here's a really cool one. This is Ophiocordyceps nidus. This is a almost brand new species described in 2017. Um, And this is a cordyceps that parasitizes a trapdoor spider. I actually happened to catch the worm on the trapdoor. So this little, honestly, it almost looks like a toilet seat. This little door right here with the worm on it in this case, this is what the spider uses to trap its prey. And it kind of just like, the prey is walking along, do, 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 and then like falls into the hole, and then the spider like snatches the door closed and goes to town. But crazy enough, this Ophiocordyceps decided to get to the spider itself, so it gets in there, parasitizes the spider, and then it leaves a myceliated corpse and fruits, sporulates, and the spores get carried on the wind to kill another unsuspecting insect. So, the top killer of insects is fungi. So without fungi, we would have a massive insect problem on this earth. So, yeah, you can thank your friendly local neighborhood Ophiocordyceps for killing all the insects for you. So this species also comes in red. There's orange and there's red. I have no idea why. It's different. This one actually photographed in Colombia. I love this fire engine red specimen. You can also see the spores coming out on this one. There are these white spores dropping. And in this one, the casing of the Ophiocordyceps was undisturbed. So I managed to open this trapdoor without, disturbing the casing. So it's a really cool, really beautiful photo. And these two photos are probably among the best in the world of this species, which was just described, less than 10 years ago. Here's a cool one. This one comes with a story. So one night we were back at the caves with our research squad, and me and my friend Jordan, we found this Bovaria species. So this is like kind of looks like Bovaria locustophylla, But I was like, oh my God, I have to photograph this. But what happened was we took a different way. So we took a way that even the people that were there with us, they said, let's just try to go around this canyon. Let's just try. So we like went up and down and around, and then we came to a dead end. So then we had to backtrack hours and go all the way back. It was a nightmare. But the whole time, almost the whole time, for like hours, I carried the stick with this thing on it so I could photograph it because no one was trying to stop. It was raining, it was sweaty, it was like, late at night. We were trying to hike back miles out of the out of the wilderness, basically. And, we had taken this wrong turn. So this thing was carried for miles and miles through mud, up and over cliffs and caves, just so I could photograph it. And I think it was worth it. Here it is in UV. Um, this is like something out of The Last of Us. You can see this eyeball with the like really crazy mycelial thread going through it. And for some reason, the tip, the hyphal like growth tip here is blue. I have no idea why that is. You can see it looks just the same color, not in UV. But in UV it like really brings out this like blue on the growth edge right there. And I have no idea why, by the way. So here is the DNA sequence of this thing. Um, every time there is a yellow place without a line there, that means that's a real difference in the DNA sequence. So this is compared to the type species of Bovaria locustophylla. And it's so many differences. It's very, very different. I think it was, yeah, it was like only 94% similar, which is extremely different. Something can be a new species and be like 99% similar. So this is like new, like off the charts in newness. This is not Bovaria locustophylla, but we're calling it a provisional name until it can be formally named Bovaria species Ecuador 01. So all these beautiful photos by my friend Rachel Bujowski were taken. They ended up in The Guardian about this time last year, actually, in a really awesome article called Life, Death, and Zombie Mushrooms in Search of the Amazon's Rarest Fungi. Mycologist Alan Rockefeller and Mandie Quark are on a mission to meticulously document species in Ecuador's jungle before they vanish forever. So, yeah, this is just like a wrap up. This is what I was saying. This is my quote from the article. She adds, Mushrooms exist at the precipice of life and death. They remind us experience is fleeting, and our human experience is also fleeting. Being there at the perfect moment to find a beautiful mushroom, you have to be present in all of your senses to be able to appreciate that blip in time where the mushroom is at the most pristine. You know, mushroom hunting is really an art, but it's like mostly luck of stumbling across these things when they're in their most beautiful state. And it's just so, mushrooms are so ephemeral. Fungi are just here today, gone tomorrow. And I really hope that is not a harbinger for what these forests are. Um, and as it said in the article, our mission is to meticulously document some of the world's rarest fungi, which have been rapidly declining due to changes in climate, illegal logging, and mining. Yeah, I mean, there's just vast threats to all this stuff. This is publicized globally, but the same impacts are drastically affecting these small transition zones that are less studied between the Amazon and the Andes. So pressures exist at all angles um, from all this industrial logging, mining, drilling, changes in climate, and then other infrastructure development such as highways, hydroelectric plants, and then of course just the local people trying to survive, bro. Trying to do slash and burn agriculture, just to survive. So, in summary, fungi really depend on our future. So, where the direction that we decide to take this planet, um, it really actually fungi depend on that, and then we also depend on fungi because without them, we would not be here to be able to, our world is just completely shaped by them. We wouldn't be here to be able to exist and thrive because they are constantly undergoing the process of decay and renewal. So, we would just be sitting around in a bunch of dead logs all the time. Like we really need them. They clean up our planet. Um, they're amazing. They're beautiful. They're stunning. And they're extremely intertwined with our future, as is the Amazon jungle, the lungs of the earth. So I just want to let you guys know you can join us in Ecuador. There are still a few spots left. We're doing two trips this year. These trips are wildly popular. So the first one is an adventure edition. Community science adventure. We're going to explore biodiversity with mycologists, herpetologists, and then we also have special guest botanists and entomologists. Our special guest botanists, one of them is Joey from Crime Pays but Botany Doesn't. I don't know if you guys know about Joey. He has a wildly popular YouTube channel, and we're inviting our friend Andy, the entomologist. We have other botanists. We have two amazing herpetologists, Alex and Zane. I'm really excited. I'm extremely, extremely excited about this. We're gonna take people to the caves, day and night forays, and you got to be able to hike for this one, through any conditions, mud and rain, but 5% of the profit of this trip is going to directly support this critical, desperately needed research in the Yanganante-Sangay ecological corridor that is so imperiled. So, if adventuring and hiking unknown amount of miles in a day in the mud and rain isn't your thing, right after that, we are doing a luxury foray where you can get spa treatments, world-class meals, and a soaking tub experience overlooking the Amazon. Um, we're gonna do like demonstrations. We're gonna have the guest lectures. We're doing local field trip. So yeah, we're doing two events in Ecuador this year. They're definitely filling up, but there's still room. Yeah, I'm really excited about this. This is something, in addition to our work, this is kind of what we use to fund it. So if you want to get your hands dirty, want to get down to Ecuador and discover, not just the fungi, but all of the precious biological marvels that are held there, we definitely invite you to join us. So you can visit my website. Um, this is just like a photo of me like looking cool, thinking how freaking cool the Amazon is and how much we need to protect it. Um, this is the lovely eco resort that we will be hosting the luxury foray at. Phew, I just can't say more good things about this place. And thank you guys for letting me talk to you for so long. And this was like really ridiculously long, but I hope you guys learned something, maybe learned to appreciate our future a little bit more. Um, this is just me wrapping up. I'm a molecular mycologist, creative communicator. I co-founded Mycena. You can find out more information on mycena.llc. You can go to our section of our website called the Rainforest Foray Series to find out more information about the trips. You can find me on all social medias at Mandie Quark. Thank you so much. I want to give a huge shout out to Matt Powers. This is my third year in a row of being involved with Our Future, and I just so happy, so excited to be doing this. And I just look up to Matt so much. He really is like an inspiration to me. He's such a cool guy and so funny, and like there's just no one else like him on earth. And I think, I just love Matt, and I'm so thrilled and honored to be a part of this really cool thing that he does every year. So thank you. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone who possibly made it watching me this long. Hit me up on social media if you want to collaborate. I am so down. Email me, hit me up on social media if you have any questions. I'm so open. So many cool people have hit me up after doing this like year after year, and I'm just so happy to connect with the community and get feedback from people that are interested in this stuff and interested in being involved. So I'm really excited to see maybe who contacts me this year again. And yeah, just thank you guys so much. I really appreciate this. And that's it for me. I'm Mandie Quark, and yeah, hope you guys have a really great future. Talk to you later. Bye.